Are phone camera lenses any good? Let's find out. Hi and welcome to episode 68 of the Photography Explained podcast. I'm your host Rick, and in each episode I will explain one photographic thing to you in plain English in less than 10 minutes-ish without the irrelevant details. What I tell you is based on my lifetime of photographic experience and not Google. Before I go on, if you have a question you would like me to answer, just go to photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. That's photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. Nearly said it, less than a minute in, first error. Right, here is the answery bit. Phone cameras have much smaller lenses than mirrorless or DSLR cameras, but they have extraordinary image-taking capabilities considering their size. Camera lenses on phones operate in the same way as they do on cameras, directing light onto the imaging sensor in the body of the phone. The combination of these remarkable lenses with the technology built into phones offer remarkable image-taking possibilities, all from a phone. Right, that's the answer. Here is the detaily bit, only a little bit obviously. First question, how are these lenses so good? Well, if you think about it, the manufacturers of these marvellous devices are the real tech giants. You've got Apple, Google, Samsung, to name just three. Apologies to all of the manufacturers of phones, but they're the first three that sprang to mind. And I need to say here that I use an iPhone. My knowledge is based on an iPhone. I've never used an Android phone in my life, rightly or wrongly. So these devices, they combine precise engineering of the optics with ultra-powerful processing of images. It's the combination of the optics and the software that make these cameras so good. The software does lots of stuff. Now, with my DSLR, I shoot in RAW. There is no processing applied to an image. With a phone, there is a massive amount of processing done. I mean, lots of the errors in older phone cameras are now corrected at the time the photo is taken. I'll explain these in another episode. But the main one you need to know about are these. Chromatic aberration, vignetting, optical distortions. These things used to make photos taken with the phone look a bit rubbish, but they are done and corrected instantly. It's remarkable how they've done this. What is the best camera lens on a phone? Well, it's like saying what's the best camera? I mean, the best camera is the one that you have. There are lots of phones, there are lots of different cameras and lenses, and as you probably expect, the newer the phone, the better the lens, in very general terms. I mean, iPhones have got pretty good lenses. Samsung have got pretty good lenses. Google Pixel, they're meant to be a little bit better, step above. But let's not forget, we're comparing amazing with more amazing. We're not comparing rubbish to amazing. We're comparing levels of, let's be honest with you, amazingness. Okay, what do I use? Well, I'm using a 3-year-old iPhone XS, and it is amazing. I'll reiterate the point. My iPhone is amazing. It's not brand new, it's not the latest tech, but it's still amazing. Sure, the iPhone, is it 12 Pro now, is more amazing, but can you really tell the difference in the photos? You probably can, but then again, is that really that important? You need to think back to when the first camera phones came out and you got those little square images that were, well, being generous, they weren't great, were they? So, 3-year-old phone is still fine. Now there's some stuff I did not know. What focal length are camera phone lenses? I've spoken about this on previous episodes. So, on the iPhone XS, the wide-angle lens has a focal length of 4.25 millimeters. This is equivalent to 26 millimeters on a full-frame camera. So I didn't know that. Neither did I know that the other lens, the telephoto lens, has a 6 millimeter focal length, which is equal to 52 millimeters on a full-frame camera. The irony of this is that the main lens is a wide-angle lens, and it's quite wide at 26 millimeters. And the other lens, which is called the telephoto lens, is actually the equivalent of a standard lens in photography terms. So you got to think about things differently with a camera phone. The selfie lens on the front, that front-facing lens, that's got an equivalent focal length of 32 millimeters. I'm going to be honest with you now, I couldn't find the actual focal length, but you get the point. Are camera lenses prime or zoom? Well, taking my iPhone again, it has 2 prime lenses. Sorry, it has 3, doesn't it? Because it's got the one on the front. The one known almost deprecatingly, a big word for a Wednesday morning, as a selfie lens. What aperture are phone camera lenses? Didn't know this either. Sticking with my iPhone XS, because that's the only one I have. The wide-angle lens has an aperture of f1.8. The telephoto lens has an aperture of f2.4. And the front lens has an f2.2 aperture. So the apertures are fixed. So the depth of field control is via software and not stopping down the aperture. And again, that's why you have to think about camera phones differently from cameras, because you're using them in a different way completely. Are phone camera lenses autofocus? Yes, you can't get a manual focus, so it must be autofocus. I don't know if it's got a focusing points in it or not. It must have. Why wouldn't you? Just thinking about that, actually, you wouldn't want a manual focus on a lens on a phone, would you? No. Can you change the lenses on phone cameras? You can't change them. As far as I'm aware, I don't know of any lens that you can remove and swap for another one. But you can add lenses to a phone. Right, that's it. That's just reminded me. You can add lenses to a phone. I need to know more about that. That's next episode sorted. So, I'll just update my spreadsheet and we'll do that. Can you tell the difference between phone and full frame camera photos? Probably the most important question. Can you actually tell the difference? Now, if you go on the internet, you'll see more and more of this. You can see comparisons where people are asking you to spot the difference and say which one was taken with a phone, which one was taken with, for argument's sake, a full-frame camera. And you look at them and you can't tell, can you? And this is, it's another part of this really, is that we view photos differently now. I'll come on to this in another episode, but if you think about it, how many photos do you view on your screen, on your phone, on your tablet, on a monitor? How many times do you do a large print and look at it? You tell the difference then between a phone and a camera photo, but we're not looking at photos like that now, which does get onto the point of, do you need a camera really? It is a question, isn't it? Which leads me on nicely to, see, this is almost as though it's intended. Can you use a phone to take professional photos? Can you use a phone to take professional photos? The answer, I'm going to come on to that in another episode because I think there's a lot I can say about that. And a lot of it is to do with the way that we view photos now. But if you want an answer for this episode, that's fine. You can use a phone to take professional photos and people are doing it and making a decent living out of it. What do? Well, I use an iPhone XS. I use my phone for day-to-day snaps, behind-the-scenes shots and for all my video content. I mean, I've taken photos with my phone and put them next to photos taken with my Canon 6D, and guess what? If you look at them casually, you can't see a great difference. I know there's a difference, and I know there's benefits to raw photos taken on a full-frame camera, but think about how we look at photos these days. And another thing, these amazing cameras that you get, made by Apple, Samsung and everything, do you know what? You can do this thing with them where you can phone somebody up and speak to them. Just saying. Okay, I'm going to finish off with the talky bit. I was meant to be talking about lenses, and this has opened up another endless subject that I really want to talk about. This is obviously going to be popular. Mobile phone photography. It's so obvious now I think about it. I'm not really sure why I didn't come up with this one sooner, but I got there in the end. Yeah, camera lenses has naturally led me down this path. It wasn't the plan, but I did have plans, but they're put on the back burner for now, or further down the list of episodes, which you can see on the photographyexplainedpodcast.com. Phone cameras work in different ways. Think about this one. You don't choose an aperture, you don't set a shutter speed, you don't set an ISO, you just press a button and it's all done for you. And we love that, don't we? And you can share things instantly. Sorry, I'm digressing now, going beyond the subject, which was lenses on camera phones. Camera phone lenses, my one-line summary. Camera phone lenses offer extraordinary image capture capabilities considering their size and the fact that they're in a phone. I think we sometimes forget that when we're looking at phones and going, oh God, this phone's better than that phone's better than that phone. It's a phone, it's not a camera. Get over it. They're amazing. Okay, so next episode 69. To be honest, I'm sticking with this train of thought now, as I said before. How can I improve my mobile camera lens? This is new to me too. Yep, that's my snappy title. I'm done. Thanks for listening to my small but perfectly formed podcast. To find out more and do stuff to help me, check out photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. This I should edit that out, but I don't know how to edit, let's be honest with you. This episode was brought to you by several coffees and some water to rehydrate myself. I've been Rick McAvoy. Thanks again very much for listening to me and for giving me less than 12 3/4 minutes of your valuable time. And I will see you on the next episode. Cheers from me, Rick.